Hi, Makenna. You asked a question about question 1, part C, number 2, and said that you were struggling with all of it. Well, I can show you a couple that will model how they should go. One of the things that we need to keep in mind is this piece of information here, right? That it breathes 16 times per minute, right? So one way that we can write it is like that, 16 times per minute, or 1 minute equals 16 times that it breathes, right? So we have a couple of ways that we can write that ratio. And then the other thing that I suggested in class was that we start with the 1 million times. So here's 1 million. 1 million times. And we need to multiply, right? So the question is asking how many seconds, right? So we've got to start with this ratio here. We've got to choose which one we want. And the one that I'm going to use is this one right here, because if I write it this way, then you should see that those units will cancel each other out. Now the unit that I have left right now is minutes, but I don't want minutes. I want seconds, right? So I need to think about my relationship between minutes and seconds, right? So there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. Or I could say that 1 minute has 60 seconds. The question is, which one of these two, this one or this one, would I want to work with? I want to work with this one because if I write it here, then what you should notice is that minutes and minutes will cancel out, and the only unit that I have left in the entire problem is seconds. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply across the numerators and across the denominator. Now one thing that we don't see here, right, is that there's a 1 there, but you could write that if you want to. So I'm going to do 1 million times 60, and that's going to be 60 million. And then I'm going to do 1 times 16 times 1, and that is 16. I'm not quite done yet, right? I need to do this actual division. So I take out a calculator, and I divide 60 million by 16. And if I do that, I get 3,750,000 seconds. Okay? So that's how I solve question A. Question B is going to be solved in a very, very similar way. So if we look at question B, I'm going to scroll down a little bit to give myself some more room, but question B wants to know how many minutes, right? So question B, and I want to know how long it will take for 1 million times, just like before. So I'm going to start with 1 million times. And then I'm going to multiply it by some ratio. And we have to start with this ratio that we already know, the one that is given at the beginning of the problem. So it says it takes 16 times, it breathes 16 times every minute. Again, I want to choose which of these two ratios, this one or this one, so that stuff will cancel out. And again, we're going to use the second ratio, 1 minute over 16 times, because times and times will cancel out. Now, the nice thing about this is that the unit that's left is minutes, and that's the unit that I want. So if I do my multiplication, and again, remember that this is over 1, I'm going to do 1 million over 16. And if I do 1 million divided by 16 in my calculator, I'm going to get 62,500, and the units here are minutes, so 62,500. So I'll start the setup for part C, and then you're going to have to see if you can continue, see if you can stretch it out. But it starts exactly the same way, part C. I want to know how long it's going to take to breathe 1,000,000 times. I've got to use the ratio that I was given at the beginning of the problem, and I arrange it in such a way that this will cancel out. But now you need to think about, how do I get from minutes to hours? And what is the relationship between minutes and hours, right? There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Or you could say that 1 hour has 60 minutes. You got to decide which one of these you're going to choose, and that's what's going to go here. And then you'll be able to figure out your answer. So hopefully that helps. If you have any other questions, just let me know. Thanks for watching.